Hey guys, CryptoDad here. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream, live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about altcoins. I'm going to move some crypto around for you guys, and as always, I'll do my very best to get to your questions and see if we can't get your problems troubleshooted here live. So, welcome to a special election a special election edition of my live stream. We're just a few days before the election, and so I thought that we should kind of stick to that theme. You'll notice on the thumbnail I wrote "Vote Bitcoin" as kind of a joke, and I was trying to make myself look like an old election worker. But it didn't really come out right. But anyway, that's what I was trying to achieve. Um, but it got me thinking about the issues in this election. And for me, I'm kind of a one issue voter. I'm pro crypto. In many ways, that's a philosophy in and of itself. Kind of, it always has been a little bit libertarian, kind of separate, anti-establishment kind of a view, right? It's at least as far as, the financial system goes. So I thought maybe I should focus on how you would research who to vote for if you're pro crypto. So we're going to talk about that. Also, I had an issue with my ledger Stax, and it went into what's called protection mode. And so I want to talk a little bit about what that is and how I got there and how I got out of it. And that's also going to lead to the issue of keeping a mirror backup. That's very important. A lot of people don't quite get it. It's hard to wrap your head around it. I get it. It is for me too. But the simplest way you can think about it is having a spare car key set. So if you lose your car keys and you need to run to the grocery store, you get your spare. You've got your spare in a drawer. You wouldn't want to have to go down to the dealership and get them to cut you a new set of keys if you lost your car keys. You want to have a spare laying around that you can use right away. So we'll talk about that. But thank you guys, everyone, for being here. Let's go over to the big board and see who's here. I want to thank everyone that came in tonight, everyone that was here early, and I got the wrong monitor up, but that's okay. We can switch over to the right monitor pretty easy. Let's see. Andreas was here early. Thank you for being here early. As always, Mark Schlossberg from Slovakia. Thank you. Kenny, always good to have Kenny here. Thank you so much for the news, Kenny. Let's see. Simon is here from Scotland. That's awesome. I'm reading a book by a guy from Scotland. My goodness. Whatever did I do with that book? I don't know what I did with it. I thought it was right here. I was moving it around as I was cleaning my table. It's about paying attention, and I can't seem to pay attention. But it's cool. Maybe it'll come to me later. Let's see. Christopher Thane is here from Down Under, if I recall correctly. He got his Ledger Nano X and he's having trouble reading it. I get that. I totally get that. The Ledger Nano X has a small screen, and that's why I recommend the Ledger Stax or the Ledger Flex. I know they're expensive, and I did some videos on that, and so we can talk a little bit about the issues there. But for me, a lot of people will say things like, well, doesn't the Ledger Nano X have the same amount of security? And the answer is yes, it does. But if you're going to use your crypto on a day-to-day basis, you want to be able to see the screen, right? You want it to be easy to use and not difficult and unfamiliar. So that's one of the reasons why I recommend the Stax, the Flex, or the Trezor Safe 5. The Trezor Safe 5 is a very nice upgraded interface in the Trezor line, color touchscreen with haptic feedback, which works very similar to the way your phone or tablets work, right? We all need touchscreens. It just seems to be a natural interface for us, right? Bobby's here. E. Poston from Colorado. Sorry, I'm losing it now. Another man's point of view. Ampov, good to have you back again. Pardon me. Wayne is here again. Good to have Wayne. Unique Dies Disney's from New Orleans. Wow. Thanks for being here. I don't believe I've seen you in here before. Tony Dizelle from Florida. Maybe you've been in here before, Tony. Claudio Pezza from Italy. Awesome. Being here from Italy. That's so cool. Dustin and Shadow, good evening. Thanks, Gary. Love the streams. Glad to make it. Awesome. Les Square, New Jersey in the house. Awesome. Amsterdam, Holland, back again. Alina Harling is back. Wonderful. Emmanuel, TB watching. So let's jump in. If you've never been in the stream before, there are a lot of goodies in the description. So what we're going to talk about, our main news focus, our agenda. You remember I talked about Ledger Stax protection mode and mirror backup. So we're going to talk about that as far as crypto goes. I've got a bunch of affiliate links here. Please support the channel. Please support me. I need money, money, money. No, it doesn't make any. It doesn't cost you any extra to use my affiliate links. They send me a little commission when someone buys a device using my link. So it's a very easy way for you to support my channel by using my affiliate links. And I've got a lot of different hardware wallets that I've done videos for over the years. Like I mentioned, that Trezor Safe 5, Tangem Ring. I forgot to mention Tangem Ring. Very awesome, subtle, fashionable crypto wallet that you can wear on your finger. It's so cool. We got the Ledger Flex, Ledger Stax. If you're on a budget and you're familiar with this stuff and you don't care about interface, even though you should, Ledger Nano S Plus, Ledger Nano X, Trezor Safe 5, Trezor Expert, their video service, one-on-one setup with a expert from Trezor. Very cool. And the news stories, right? So, I should bring this up at the top of the hour. There are ways to get a hold of me. You can check out Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I don't really do that much on Instagram. I need to do more cross-posting on Instagram, but I do cross-post on Twitter. And how you can get a hold of me. I've got my email down here, thecryptodad@gmail.com. One word, thecryptodad@gmail.com. Easy peasy. Shoot me an email. If you need more, we can talk, right? I do paid consulting, but, let's start with an email. Get the ball rolling. Maybe we can solve your problem with an easy peasy email response. A lot of times I do that quite often during the week. All right, so let's jump into the news. I promised that we were going to talk about the election a little bit. So we've got Harris. Odds rise on Polymarket at election fraud allegations. Okay, I'm going to see if I can say this sentence here. Harris odds rise on Polymarket as election fraud allegations ramp up Trump hedge bets. That sentence makes no sense to me. But if at first glance, it would appear that they are saying that Kamala is ahead on Polymarket, but she is not. If you read the article, she's still, Trump is still favored on Polymarket, but Kamala's odds have gone up, and they're claiming that it has something to do with these election fraud allegations involving Trump and his campaign, right? So here we go. On Polymarket, Kamala Harris's odds of winning the U.S. presidential election have increased from 33% to 39%. Donald Trump's have dropped 60. That doesn't make sense. Dropped. I think it should be to 61%. You know what? I don't think people are double checking these articles. Anyhow. All right. So the first reason why they think that this might be happening is that traders are hedging their bets, much like stock market traders do. They hedge their bets. They kind of bet on both sides, or buy, have a long position and a short position. that sort of balance each other out. So they're saying that this might be why her odds are going up slightly. People are placing some hedge bets. You have to remember, we used to rely on polls a lot, and we still do to a certain extent, but polls are kind of manipulative. They can be administered manipulatively. They can be presented manipulatively. There can be multiple polls that give different results, but only the polls that favor the narrative of one candidate are the one that get, presented to the public. So polls are not as good as we think, or maybe they are, because they're like a psyop in a way. But people are turning more to Polymarket now. But you have to remember that is a betting platform. The idea there is that people that really want to put their money where their mouth is bet on candidates that they think are going to win, and that does make sense to a certain amount. But it also can be manipulated too. Someone with deep pockets can place a bunch of bets. So we're kind of back where we started. So we're just talking about a betting platform here. Reports of voter irregularities against Trump could be influencing market bets. And they talk a little bit about going into this. And I kind of promised myself I wasn't going to do this, but I am going to go ahead and do it. So bear with me, guys. We're going to get a little bit off topic here, but not off topic of election, just a little off topic of crypto, if you don't mind. Here is the alleged reports of voting irregularities, and it opens up this article here. Trump and his allies ramp up election fraud allegations in Pennsylvania. And basically, it's a story about kind of legal challenges to some things that are going on in Pennsylvania right now. And as if this were some sort of evil plan of some kind. So I want to say a little bit about disputing elections, okay? Whether you're for Trump or you're for Kamala, I've over the time, I've sort of come to the conclusion that things aren't really going to change that much. Doesn't really matter who gets elected. So I don't want to sound partisan here. I just want to point out some things that have really bothered me, mostly about the media, but you could call it the deep state or the entrenched powers, or however you want to think about it. But I'm going to refer to it as the media. And that is this whole idea that disputing an election is somehow undemocratic or fascistic or dictatorship. I'm going to put this out there. Disputing elections is as American as apple effing pie. And I'm going to give you some examples of disputed elections. Now, I have to admit that I asked ChatGTP about this because now that it's sort of connected to the internet, it does a really good job of putting a question in perspective and giving you examples. So I asked ChatGTP, can you give me some of the most famous disputed elections through history? And I apologize, I don't have this linked below because it's a response generated by ChatGTP. If you would like a list of this, you can email me. I pasted this into a Word document. I would be happy to attach it for you if you want. But we'll start in 1824, the corrupt bargain. John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Henry Clay, and William Crawford. Controversy. Andrew Jackson won a plurality of the popular and electoral votes, but not the required majority. The decision went to the House of Representatives, which chose John Quincy Adams. Jackson and his supporters claimed a corrupt bargain had been struck between Adams and Henry Clay, who was made Secretary of State after the election. Okay, election of 1876, Rutherford B. Hayes versus Samuel Tilden. This was after the Civil War, almost at the end of Reconstruction. This is perhaps the most infamous disputed election in U.S. history. Samuel Tilden won the popular vote, and initial returns indicated he won the electoral vote as well. However, 20 electoral votes from 4 states were disputed. A special electoral commission was formed, and it awarded the disputed votes to Rutherford B. Hayes by a narrow margin of 185 to 184, leading to his victory. The result was part of the Compromise of 1877, which ended Reconstruction. And it's my recollection that the deal was, if you allow Rutherford B. Hayes to be president, we will pull the troops out of the South and end Reconstruction, which was basically the North was occupying the South at that point. They agreed to end it and pull their troops back. Election of 1888, Benjamin Harrison versus Grover Cleveland. Cleveland won popular support but lost electoral vote. Cleveland supporters questioned the legitimacy of Harris's victory. We've got Kennedy versus Richard Nixon, a razor-close election where a lot of Republicans felt there was voter fraud in Illinois and Texas. However, Nixon did not really contest the election. Those of you who still remember, it's been 24 years, seems like a long time, George Bush versus Al Gore. The election was decided by a razor-thin margin in Florida. The U.S. Supreme Court halted the recount in Florida, effectively awarding the presidency to George W. Bush by a 5-4 decision. Al Franken's Senate election in 2008. Now, I remember this. This is the one I always think about when we talk about disputing elections. Republican incumbent Norm Coleman initially led by a small margin. After a mandatory recount, Democrat Al Franken was declared the winner by 312 votes. The election was contested for months, with Coleman challenging the results in court. Franken was eventually seated in 2009 after legal challenges were exhausted. Yes, people dispute elections in the U.S. Okay, we got 2020. We all know about that. Close races, legal challenges, political tensions. And so I was like, okay, that's like from the history of the U.S., and that's only presidential. Can you give me, like, just since 1900, national elections, which would have been including president, Senate candidates, and congressional candidates? So ChatGTP spit out several elections that were contested in some way or form, right? Were they challenged in court? Was there an extended legal battle? Were significant accusations of fraud, irregularities, or interference, right? Woodrow Wilson versus Charles Hughes. Hughes was reluctant to concede for days due to close results, particularly in California. Election of 1960, we talked about that. 2000 and 2020. We have Senate elections. Election of 1948, one of the most famous contested Senate elections. Johnson won after a controversial recount, earning him the nickname Landslide Lyndon. 1948. 1974, John Durkin versus Lewis Wyman. Longest Senate disputes with recounts in a deadlock. A special election was finally held. Election of 2008, Minnesota election. We talked about that. 2020, Georgia Senate runoff. Irregularities, call for audits. Congressional elections. 1984, Indiana. A close race with disputed ballots led to multiple recounts and a House investigation. The House eventually seated McCloskey after a long fight. 1996, Loretta Sanchez versus Bob Dornan. Blah, blah, blah. Accused Sanchez of benefiting from illegal votes by non-citizens. That's 1996. Election of 2018. This race saw allegation of ballot tampering, leading to the nullification of results and a special election. All right, so what's the total? 11 major national disputed elections since 1900. So this whole idea that challenging elections is somehow undemocratic does not pass the smell test in my book. And I'm just looking at this from an intellectual point of view. All right. So, what are we going to do about our votes, right? I know you all have things you want to vote for. You have issues that are near and dear to your heart. I'm Crypto Dad. Crypto is what I care about. So there's a great group called the Blockchain Association. I have the link down here in the description down below. You can check out this link. It's their news feed, and you can check out the Blockchain Association's articles. Also, I asked, this is another one about regulation by enforcement. I have this one linked down below. It's talking about the SEC's anti-crypto crusade, pardon me. So you might want to check that one out. And this is the disputed elections. Now, I also asked ChatGTP, and you can sign up for a free ChatGTP account, or you can use Google. Google gives pretty decent AI results now before they give you links, as well as Brave has some. There's AI search engines everywhere. But I asked ChatGTP, I told them that I lived in Michigan, and are there any pro-crypto candidates? They mentioned Senator Gary Peters, who's a Democrat, who voted with other senators to support the repeal of SAB 121. We talked about this. This was the rule that was enacted by the SEC, kind of by fiat decree, and trying to repeal this was seen as a pro-crypto move that could help protect the industry. So that's Gary Peters, local senator in Michigan. Let's see. There are crypto-friendly Democrats like Mark Kelly and John Tester. Democrat leaders like Elizabeth Warren are vocal critics. We all knew that. They talk about Donald Trump and some of his pro-crypto stuff. And they mentioned the Blockchain Association. That's how I found out. And then I asked if the Blockchain Association had endorsed any candidates in Michigan. And the Blockchain Association and its affiliated super PAC, Fair Shake, have endorsed Democratic Representative Alyssa Slotkin for her Senate race. It's a Senate race in Michigan. Slotkin's campaign aligns with some crypto industry interest, reflecting the association's bipartisan approach to backing candidates. And so I looked her up. She's not, actually, if she's a Senate, this is, I don't know, that was confusing. I thought they said she was a Senate candidate. I think currently she's a congressional, she's a congresswoman, and I think she's running for Senate. I'm the one that's confused. Yeah, so talk to ChatGTP, tell them that you're pro-crypto, or, check out the Blockchain Association, which is a good resource for your local elections, right? I'm in Michigan. You should find out in your state which candidates are pro-crypto, and use that as if you're behind crypto as much as I am, and you're tired of the SEC's regulation, what do they call it? Regulation by enforcement, then use your vote to affect the outcome. And I believe that local elections matter more than national elections, right? So vote locally for your city, your state, your county, and vote in national elections. I also had a tip from someone, this is in a similar vein, and it was basically if you don't know who to vote for as a judge, which they're very confusing, all these judgeships, go and do a little bit of research on the judge candidates and find out who appointed them, whether they were appointed by a Democrat or appointed by a Republican, and then vote accordingly. Like if you're Republican and you believe in their platforms or whatever, you can vote for the judge that it was appointed by Republicans. Judges are supposed to be, not biased. That's one thing that confused me about voting for judges. all my life. It's like, aren't they supposed to be apolitical? But they aren't, right? Judges are tainted by their political beliefs and who appointed them, and who's backing them. So if you're wondering which judge to vote for, figure out who appointed them originally, and that gives you a good standing, because their positions and their statements don't really belay who's behind them. So I think that's what we got as far as election stuff. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much talking about disputed elections, but it really just kind of burns me up that the media is blaring this narrative that to challenge an election is somehow undemocratic. It's not. Anyhow, so that's it. Okay. I wanted to talk about, let's see, what's the first thing we should talk about? Let me see if there's any questions hanging out there. Love the stream. Okay, you guys, thanks for being here. Usuals, our president accounted for. Now we need the bull market. Orthography is not a thing they use. Did I say anything wrong? I don't know what I'm talking about. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, good to have you here. Rex is ranting about elections. I did want to point out that I've been posting some content lately. I had this one crypto rant a few weeks back that got 34,000 views. I was pretty impressed with that. That's most of the videos that I do are not typically topical as far as time. So in other words, they age on the vine, because if I do a video on how to for example manage a passphrase on a Ledger Flex, that's people will look for a video like that over time, and it will accumulate views over time. So I'm not too concerned about getting a lot of hits on my tutorials, because that's kind of what I'm all about. But I do notice that my tutorials don't get a huge amount of views when my rants do. And somebody said something in one of the comments that, hey, you rant about hardware wallets too much, change your topic or whatever. And I was kind of like, well, it's, it sucks that, people only listen to me complain when they should be watching my tutorials. But be that as it may, I did some videos here managing multiple ledgers in one copy of Ledger Live. I think we talked about that last week. My review of Ledger Expert. Stop being cheap. Secure your crypto the right way. Buy a decent hardware wallet. That's one that that's a rant. And then why Bitcoin? Now this one, I was really impressed with this one. I thought about the topic. I wanted to put it into words, and I was trying to figure out how to do it. I knew what I kind of wanted to say. So what I ended up doing was recording myself. And it's after I was done, I was pretty happy with it, but I had forgotten to put the mic in front of my face. I fold my mic over off this boom to the side when I'm not using it, and I started doing this video without the mic in front of my face. And the sound quality was so poor that I had to do it again. And as they say in programming, your code is always better the second time you have to write it, because as a programmer, if you're using code checkout software, sometimes you can accidentally overwrite all the code you wrote that day if you screw. It's pretty easy to do if you're a programmer, working in a company in a production environment. So yeah, the code is always better the second time you write it, and the screed is always better the second time you have to say it. But I basically captioned my first talk, and then I printed it out and organized it a little better. But I'm talking really here about what Bitcoin's good for, why it's important. I talked a little bit about how Bitcoin works, and then I talked about the history of our debt-based system, which leads to massive amounts of debt, personal debt, at a personal level for you and I, government debt at the state, the city, state, and national level. And it's all because of this fiat money Ponzi scheme. I talk about how we got from the Federal Reserve to the Bretton Woods Agreement to the Nixon shock, where he took the US dollar off the gold standard, to 2020. If you recall, I remember it, but I had to ask Chat GTP about it. In 2020 March, the Federal Reserve reduced bank requirements, reserve requirements, to zero, right? So if you're familiar with fractional reserve banking, a bank can lend, just as an example, a bank has a 10-to-1 reserve requirement ratio, which means they can lend out 10 times more money than they have on hand. And that's because people don't always come in and cash out all their money. They're a bank run. That's a bank run. And we had that. And then during COVID, they reduced it to zero. So a bank has no reserve requirements, and they still don't, right? I checked it out because I thought, well, surely they reinstated the reserve requirements of banks, but they never did, right? We're running on a banking system that has no obligation to hold any reserves, right? There's reverse repo stuff and a bunch of stuff that the Fed does under the hood after hours and stuff, but there are no reserve requirements in our bank. And all that leads to inflation, right? Printing money out of thin air leads to inflation. They like to tell you it's your fault, that you spend too much. That's why there's inflation. No, it's because they're printing money out of thin air. That's why we have inflation. So Bitcoin is maybe not the answer to that, but it's a step in the right direction. So I encourage you to watch this video. It's gotten a decent amount of views, a lot of good comments. I'm really happy with this video. I was able to put my thoughts into a coherent talk, and I didn't have to rant about anything, right? All right, so let's talk about protection mode. I have a picture of it. I guess I really don't need it, but my Stax went into protection mode today. And let me just, I'll give you an overhead view of this. As you can see, I have 3 monitors. And this monitor, well, both of these monitors have USB hubs. But sometimes when I'm playing games, I disconnect these monitors, but I don't turn them off. I just go into the Windows and I disconnect the monitors, and I just use that monitor. Well, I was doing something with my Stax, and I wanted to manage some crypto, and I had my Stax connected to this monitor here, right? And I opened it up and I started working with it, and then I realized, oh, it's not, Ledger Live doesn't see it because I was over there on that monitor, because this wasn't active. So what I did was I unplugged it from this monitor, and then I plugged it in to this cable over here, which I'm using for my mouse right now. But I plugged it into this cable, which goes into the back of the machine. And when I unplugged it and plugged it in, I did it really quick. And the Stax did not go to sleep. It still was in like an app at the time. And I was like, well, that was weird. And so I hit the button and tried to get it back to its pin entry screen. But it didn't. All of a sudden, it went into protection mode. So it was weird. I was like, I disconnected it and reconnected it really quick. And turned out that it caused me to go into protection mode, which is very interesting, because once it went into protection mode, there was nothing I could do. I could not get it to turn off. I unplugged it. That did nothing. It just kept doing, and it was at 1% at the time, and it was just very slowly ticking upward, 1%, 2%. And it took several hours to get to 100%. And once it did get to 100%, it had been reset completely. So just because of one little odd disconnect, reconnect, I alerted the device to what it thought was something sketchy, and it went into protection mode. And I had no access to the device. There was nothing I could do to sort of bomb it out of this mode and maybe re-enter my PIN or anything like that. I was completely disconnected from access to the device for several hours. I don't remember exactly how long it took. I would say at least 3 hours. So, of course, I have my seed phrase. Also, another thing, a lot of times when you do something, it will warn you. Make sure you have your seed phrase before you update your firmware, that kind of stuff. It did nothing of the sort. It just, boom, went into protection mode, locked me out, and thank God I had my seed phrase, right? So, the reason I bring this up is to sort of let you know what the heck this is all about, right? I had never seen this before. So I was kind of interested in it. And apparently it only happens on a Flax or a Stax or a Flex. Not a Flax, a Stax. A Stax or a Flex. This is, of course, this is an anti-tampering countermeasure, obviously. But it could be very inconvenient for someone that doesn't have their seed phrase or wrote their seed phrase down incorrectly. This happens. Or they can't find their seed phrase, or they can't read their seed phrase because they didn't write it legibly, or they accidentally wrote down one of the words wrong, and so they're screwed, right? But what I wanted to mention, above and beyond all of those considerations, is the fact that I lost access to my device. Even though I had my seed phrase, I was totally cut off from using my device for 3 hours. Well, okay, the world's not going to end. I still know my crypto is safe because I have my seed phrase. But one of the most important things I think about or I consider as part of self-custody is having immediate access to my crypto at all times. That's why we have the hardware device. We really don't have the hardware device to secure our crypto, right? The hardware, we do in a way, but really the seed phrase secures our crypto, right? The device gives us immediate access to our crypto. And because this happened to me, I was disconnected from immediate access to my crypto for 3 hours. Now, I knew I wasn't going to lose any crypto because I have my seed phrase. But that could have been catastrophic if I were in the middle, or if I was like I needed the money, or I was about to do a huge trade, and this happened, and now 3 hours later I missed my opportunity. That kind of stuff, right? We want to have full, immediate access to our crypto at all times. That's why we use a hardware device. So we have safe and secure access, and we have full, immediate access to manage our crypto whenever we want. So this leads me to why you need to have a mirror backup. And you wonder, what the heck is a mirror backup? All right, so let's go over to this camera here real quick. If it's still working, oh, it looks like it is. Okay, yeah, right on. All right, so, okay, this is not, I'm going to say this right now. This is not a real seed phrase. I get a lot of flack from this. And I say it out loud in my videos. This is a mock seed phrase that I created using the BIP39 tool on the web. You can generate random seed phrases. This does not point to any crypto. I have never used this seed phrase to set up any wallets. Please, I'm begging you. Don't go in the comments and yell at me for revealing my seed phrase. I'm trying to give you an illustration without blurring, because I find that confusing, right? So this is my situation, and I noticed that this thing, when you reset these, it scrolls through these messages without you touching it, right? If you just connect a brand new reset device, it'll just go through. So okay, so let's do this. All right, so I have this device here. This got a picture of my lovely wife. Let me just enter my PIN here. All right, so I have this wonderful Stax device right here, and I'm managing crypto with it. Let's go back over here for just a second. I just want to paint this picture for you. All right, so this is my ledger live. All right. And I have this device that allows me to manage several of these devices. Now, I had somebody ask me about this sync error, and they were very concerned about it. And I was like, hit refresh. And he goes, well, I hit refresh and it never went away. And sometimes maybe you have to click it a few times, but it will eventually go away. But really, this really has nothing to do with your crypto. And mine isn't going away. Okay, there, it finally went away. It's not a big deal. It just means that maybe it's looking for the latest price action for the cryptos that you're managing. Possibly you may have an incoming transaction or whatever that's not showing up yet. You need to, but don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. And like I said, just kind of click it and click it till it goes away. Yeah, just another troubleshooting tip. All right, so we've got several accounts that are being managed with this Stax device, right? Right now, this Stax device is configured properly, all right? And it manages all these accounts over here, the ones that say Stax. All right, and so I have this Stax device, which is working, and I have this seed phrase that is a mock seed phrase, right? But as an illustration, I have a device and I have a seed phrase, right? This device gives me instant access to my crypto so that I can manage it. The most important thing I can do is send the crypto out of the wallet over to an exchange so that I can trade. Or if I'm on a DEX, I need to have this device so I can, interact with smart contracts, do swaps and trades and that kind of stuff, manage liquidity, staking, unstaking, all that stuff. I need the device to give access, right? But what if something happens to this device and I'm locked out for like the protection mode thing, or I lose this device or whatever? So shouldn't I be proactive about this? Should I wait to lose the device or lose access to the device temporarily or damage the device or whatever before I know I can order a replacement if I need one, but that could take a few days. And I talked to someone, my ranting video about maintaining your device. Someone said, oh, I don't really worry about that. I just, I have my device in a drawer and I have my seed phrase. If I need access and my device that is in my drawer doesn't work or I can't update it, I'll just get another device. I'm not worried about it. That's fine. That's true. Like I said, you don't worry about losing your crypto here. But you really want to always have full access to your device at all times. You want a working device so you have full access to your crypto. That includes keeping it updated. Get it out of the drawer once or twice a year at the minimum and run updates on it, right? So that it's got all the latest firmware and apps. But in addition to that, you should get another device, right? Get another device over here. And this is a brand new device. It's just been opened or reset, however you want to think of it. It's a blank slate, right? So we just want to do a tap, 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 tap. All right. So I'm going to skip this because I don't need Ledger Live to walk me through this. I know how to do this, right? So I'm going to set up without Ledger Live. I'm going to skip Ledger Live. I'm going to set the name for this guy. We'll call this one Rex Stax. Right? Which, by the way, is the name of this one, too. Right? We're going to set our pin. Give me a second here. I'll just do this. All right, and then I need to confirm that pin. Okay. All right, we've got our pin set. We tap to continue. Tap to continue. Now, here's the trick, right? We don't set this up as a brand new device, even though it is brand new. People get confused about this. It is brand new. I just bought it. I just opened it up. I just pulled it out of the box. It is a new device. But I want this device to be a backup of this guy, right? This one is working. And this is the seed phrase. So what I would like to do is restore this device using the exact same seed phrase of my original device, so that this device will be a mirror backup. I'm going to restore using my secret recovery phrase. It is 24 words long. And after I'm done restoring this device, it will be logically equivalent to this device, right? As far as Ledger Live is concerned, it will be the same device. So if I were to go into Ledger Live and let's say, I should do a receive. This is just an easy way to verify your hardware, right? So if I were to, I got to open this guy up. All right, if I were to open this guy up and, right, it wants me to open the Solana app. So you can see a little better there. And then it's going to show me the Solana address. See that? That is a hardware verification. I've just verified that this device works with this account, right? That's the important part, right? We'll confirm that, and we're good to go, right? Now, that mirror backup that I just created, this little gentleman over here that I just restored, will behave exactly the same way. If I were to connect that device and then I did the receive, it would do the exact same thing. It would verify, which means that I can use either device to manage my crypto right away. So if this guy gets bricked for whatever reason, whether permanently or temporarily, all I have to do is reach over to my drawer, pull out my mirror backup, boom, I hit the ground running. How long did I lose access to my crypto? Zero. Zero loss of access to my crypto. Immediate access to my crypto. Because I have a mirror backup ready to roll. Right? And the interesting thing is the one that we just restored was the one that went into protection mode. This one that I'm using right now, I had to spend 5 or 10 minutes running the restore with the correct seed phrase, not that mock seed phrase, to get it working, right? But it does, right? So in my case, I lost access to my crypto for about 10 minutes, right? Because all I had to do was, I had this guy already, right? All I had to do was run the restore. But if I had proactively already done the restore and designated this guy as my mirror backup, I would have lost no minutes of direct access to my crypto. What I was doing this morning was not that important, but had it been important, right? Maybe I needed that money right then, right? There was a bill collector at my door or whatever. And so I was like, let me just transfer this crypto to Coinbase, cash it out, withdraw to my bank, and then I will Venmo you the money or whatever, or my bookie or whatever. If I needed immediate access to my crypto for whatever reason, right? Or there was a trade. I've been waiting to do this trade, waiting for the price to do this trade, was ready for this massive trade that was going to make me a millionaire. And, I lost my chance because my device failed, in a pinch. And like I said, that the protection mode is a feature, not a bug, right? It is to prevent unauthorized tampering. This device is very secure. This device has a lot of physical and prevents physical tampering and software tampering. I've talked a lot about using third-party wallets and that kind of stuff. And people are always saying stuff like, oh, isn't that, is the third-party wallet have malware that's going to suck the private key out of the device? That's software tampering. The device is designed to prevent that sort of thing. The device does not accept malicious code. The device only accepts cryptographically formatted requests and delivers cryptographically formatted authorizations back, right? Cryptography, right? If a message is not properly formatted, the device won't accept it. It's all in cryptography. It's very complicated, but the device is designed. It's a special purpose device that does cryptography on the fly. So it is not in danger of leaking out its private key. There is an entire section or division of Ledger. They have their own floor on this new building that they bought called the Dojon, and there's two teams. What they do all day is attack the device, software and physical, all day long, trying to crack that device. And then I don't know why they have two teams, but I was told that by my affiliate rep that they have two, like a blue team and a red team, and they fight each other trying to break into each other's devices or something like that. So the device, it works as designed, right? The fact that I got bricked out was because it suspected tampering, because I disconnected and reconnected real quick, trying to override the pin or whatever they thought I was trying to do. I mean, I wasn't, but I'm glad that they were, secure about it. Let's see. How's everybody doing tonight? I know I'm just kind of ranting about this issue here with the mirror backup. It's very important. Let me just drive that home one more little thing here. I also have a Ledger Nano X here, and it's kind of coming apart a little bit. I still use it because there's one particular crypto that doesn't have an app for the Ledger Stax or Flex yet. Interestingly, I need to use my Ledger X for that particular crypto. So, but this device, I have the backup phrase, but it would be good to have a mirror backup, right? So I've got another Ledger Nano X here. I can just open up this Ledger Nano X, take it out of the box, and do the restore, just like you saw me do on the Stax. And that way I would have two Ledger Nano X's that are mirror backups of each other. Now, it's probably a good idea to maybe put a sticky label on the back of this so what it is. If you're like me, and I don't think anyone's like me, maybe Crypto Casey or Crypto Skrilla has 20 or 30 hardware wallets laying around. Now, a lot of them are different manufacturers. But even for me, over the years, I've accumulated, I'd say at least 10 or 20 Ledger devices. So yeah, it'd be easy for me to which one is this? And I've done that, right? And some of them are different colors and whatnot. But really, like this guy over here, the Bitcoin. This is my son's. I love this one. But if you're old like me, if you're a middle-aged guy, maybe put a label on the back of it so you know what it is. And maybe, on your mirror backup, put like mirror backup 1 or whatever so it won't confuse you. Because anything can happen, right? The device could get bricked accidentally. You could lose the device. You could step on the device. You could spill coffee on the device. The device, the battery might mess up or whatever. There's a million things that could happen. So in addition to having a decent device that works well, you should have mirror backups. Now you're like, Rex, dude, please, I got $500 worth of crypto and you're telling me to go out and buy not just an expensive device, but buy 2 so that I'll have a mirror backup. I mean, come on, I'm not made of money. Well, I don't know. How much crypto are you managing here? How important is that crypto to you in your life, in your financial plan? Is it your mother lode? Is it your generational wealth? If it is, price should be no object. Now, I know I get a lot of flack for this in my comments, and people are like, people are just being smart. They're being frugal. They're, maybe they can't afford, the latest device. I get all that, right? But as far as I'm concerned, I'm a very myopic or singular focused kind of person. Like, there's a lot of things, details in my life that aren't being attended to, right? But when it comes to things that are important to me, price is no object, right? My family, my crypto, that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm not worried about, spending an extra 100, 300, 200, 500 bucks when it comes to, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000 worth of crypto. And you may not have that much. I get that. But really, don't be penny wise, pound foolish. Or is it the other way around? Pound foolish, penny wise, whatever. Or did I just say the same thing in the opposite order? I don't know. Yeah. So mirror backup, pretty easy. I've got the backup ready to go here. So if something were to happen to this guy, I could pull this guy out of the box and do a restore about 15, 20 minutes. But why not just have it ready to roll? Why not just have it pre-configured, mirror backup, ready to go, out of the box, hit the ground running if something were to happen to this thing, right? That's my point here. You want full access to your crypto. You don't want to lose your crypto, but by the same token, you don't want to lose immediate access to your crypto either, right? You always want to have full access to your crypto. That's another argument for not putting your device in a drawer for 5 years. Yes, you might be able to pull it out and run firmware updates and get it up and running. It might take you half an hour or an hour. Or you may be so far behind on firmware updates that the device is unusable. And then you have to order another one. And you're frustrated and confused and angry. So have a mirror backup and make sure your go-to and your mirror backup are fully updated all the time. Take them out of their storage once or twice a year at the very least. I take mine out at least once a month. Connect it, run updates, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, once or twice a year is enough to make sure that, the device has got the latest software and the latest firmware, right? These are not static devices. They're just like your phone or your computer. They need regular updates to stay functional, right? You're not going to lose your crypto if you're not up to date, right? But you could lose immediate access. Sometimes you have to be running the latest firmware to do certain things. So please keep your device updated. Let's go back over here. Am I losing you guys? It's good to have you guys here. JDO is here. Thanks for being here tonight. Cashing in tonight, boys. Rex showed his phrase. LOL. Yeah. Our clocks went back last Saturday. Great podcast on financial reform. Thank you. Can you show the coins on the Stax? No, you cannot see your coins on your device, right? You can see the app on your device, but you cannot see your balances in your transaction history. I think I did a video on this before too. The reason why you cannot see, let me see this, 7, 8, oops, sorry. I'm just giving you my seed phrase here, or my pin. Oops, yeah, I screwed that one up good, didn't I? Shouldn't have been talking out loud. Let's do this again. Whoops. Okay, sometimes I just have to shut up. Okay, so a lot of people ask me this, and they're why can't I see my balances on my device? Why can't I see, how much Bitcoin is in here? And I know I did a video on that. This is a while back. Oh, here it is. Why I can't view my balances and make trades directly on my screen. It's because in order for this device to give you up to the minute balance information would necessitate it being connected to the internet so that it could query the blockchain for that information. That's not what this device does. The only thing this device does is manage the private key. It generates the private key, it stores the private key safely and securely, and it allows you to safely authorize transactions while still protecting the private key. And it can show you that on a secure screen. That's what's incredible about this device. But it is not an internet connected device, right? It doesn't it doesn't show you the latest. It doesn't have a clock, right? It doesn't connect to the internet. It would need to do that to query the blockchain, find out your current balance and your transaction history, and allow you to do swaps and trades right on the screen. It does not do that. It's not designed to do that. Ledger Live does that for you, right? All that stuff can be done in Ledger Live, the software component of your Stax or Flex or Ledger Nano X or your Trezor or your Keystone or whatever. There's software that interacts with it securely that can show you all that internet stuff, which is transaction history, current balances, current dollar values. All that stuff needs the internet, right? This thing is offline, right? Only stores the private key. That's all it does. Good question, RH. I appreciate that question. Let's see. Hello from South Bay, Goofy Dude. In an emergency, you can mirror your wallet to a hot wallet temporarily. It uses the BIP39 standard. That is true, JDO. That is, I have done that before. It's not best practice, but in an emergency, you can do that. So, for instance, if you don't have a mirror backup and you need access to your crypto right away and something happens to your device, you can import the seed phrase into a hot wallet. But it's not advisable. But if it's an emergency, you can do it. But after you have done that, it's probably a good idea to reset the device with a new seed phrase and then move the crypto onto the new device. Because when you import your Ledger seed phrase into a hot wallet, you've basically exposed not just that one crypto you were trying to get access to, but the entire master private key has now been exposed to the internet, right? So best practice would be to just move all the crypto off somewhere temporarily and then move it onto a new device that's been set up brand new with a brand new seed phrase. That happened to me back in 2019 or 2020. I did a video where I inadvertently exposed the entire seed phrase. I had used some raw footage of me going through the setup or the restore. I think I was doing the restore because I was showing how to do a mirror backup back in 2021. and I exposed the entire seed phrase. Let me see if I can find that video. I believe it's this one. And when was that? Sorry. December 12th, 2020. I did this video. And hey
guys, CryptoDad here.
I just want to scrub through a little bit here. Yeah, it's right here. I set it up, and then I notice I'm going through the entire setup. I didn't blur it because I thought that it was from a different seed phrase or something. But you can see every single word if you pay attention. There's even one part where it's fast forwarded, but if you slow it down, you can see every word in my seed phrase, all 24. And someone alerted me and said, hey, you know that video that you did? You just showed the entire, every word of your seed phrase. And I looked at the video and I realized that I had exposed my go-to seed phrase, my working seed phrase. And so immediately I set up a new device with a new seed phrase, and then I painstakingly transferred all of the crypto off this device over to the new device. Thankfully, you know, this guy let me know not long after I posted the video, and I didn't lose any crypto because the video had been up less than a day. So no one got, you know, only a very observant person would realize that each and every, see, there's word 24. And this was a fast forward too. Let me turn off sound here. Let me see. I think, yeah, look, see, that was fast forward. But if you're paying attention and slowing the video down, you can see every single word of my seed phrase. So nobody's perfect, right? I did it. And so when that happens, like in the emergency where you bring in your seed phrase to a hot wallet, or if you accidentally expose your seed phrase, you need to see if you can get at your crypto off, get the crypto off the device while you still can. Now, for example, if you are scammed and you give out your seed phrase, the scammer might go for your Bitcoin right away. He's got his own ledger device. He goes for your Bitcoin right away. Well, this happened to a good friend of mine. He lost his Bitcoin and he gave up his seed phrase to a phone scammer. And then the phone scammer drained the wallet of Bitcoin and Ethereum within minutes. But the scammer did not realize that my friend had like $30,000 worth of AVAX token that was being staked through the core wallet, right? A third-party wallet. The AVAX, well, the scammer didn't have access to my friend's ledger live. He just had a seed phrase. So he may not have realized that he had AVAX token on there. And even if he had like searched or set up an AVX account, it would have been staked. But anyway, we waited until the unstaking period, and we were able to retrieve that like 30 grand, or maybe it was more. I think maybe it was 40 grand worth of AVAX token, because the scammer that stole the seed phrase was not aware of the AVAX tokens, right? Because they were being managed on a third-party wallet. So if you've exposed your seed phrase, you should go, don't just throw up your hands and, you know, go cry in a pillow. There may be some crypto that the scammer misses, right? You may have, and as soon as possible, go into the device and see if you can get your crypto off before your entire wallet gets drained. What service do you recommend to determine the price of Bitcoin when originally purchased after sold, when it's been sold on exchange that it wasn't originally purchased? There are a lot of portfolio managers. Let's see, crypto portfolio. Portfolio tracker. That's one tack you could take. Like CoinStats. That's just a straight up portfolio tracker. Now you need to be aware there are a lot of scammers pretending to be CoinStats, and a lot of scammers pretending to be CoinTracker, telling people that they need to transfer crypto to them. So, but these are legitimate services. So a portfolio tracker would, if you connect your wallets to their servers, maybe you lose a bit of privacy, but you do have like, you can trace prices of how much you paid when you bought it, how much you paid when you sold, even if they were on different exchanges. But really the best way to track and trace that kind of stuff is some sort of crypto tax platform, like CoinTracker. CoinTracker, CoinLedger, Coinly. I got my caps on for some bizarre reason. Crypto tax software has you enter your public addresses, and they can trace the wallet, and you connect your exchanges. So let's say you bought your Bitcoin on Coinbase. You've connected Coinbase to your Coinly account or your CoinLedger account or your CoinTracker account. And you also have your Ledger Nano wallet addresses in your tax software. And then whatever exchange you sold on, let's just say it was Kraken or Binance or whatever, you also have your account connected to your tax software account, right? A lot of people worry about this, but there are APIs, there's ways to do this. You're not really sacrificing that much privacy, for a service. I mean, that's the idea here, is that you're reporting your taxes. And these services, once you've connected all of your exchanges and all of your wallet addresses, they can track and trace the Bitcoin from a date of purchase, price of purchase, to wallet storage, to sale and sale price, right? This is the kind of thing that you need. Otherwise, you have to do it manually on your own with like an Excel spreadsheet, but that would be extremely tedious. Once you've connected your wallets and your exchanges to these tax software services, they can track and trace every sale and help you calculate your capital gains or losses. I've used CoinTracker in the past. It's very good. Good looking out, Rex. That protection mode feature could end up as a catastrophe. Ledger dropped the ball with that feature again. Like I said, it is a security feature. And it is there to protect your device. So I wouldn't bash Ledger because of protection mode. I mean, it's not like a mistake. It's not like the device got bricked. It is a legitimate functionality of the device to protect the device against tampering. Unfortunately, I triggered it, but I would rather, be safe than sorry, right? The device has a built-in, like, turtle mode when it thinks something's wrong. I wouldn't be bashing Ledger about this. I think this is a feature, not a bug. Let's see. We are flesh and blood. I would suggest Arkham Portfolio Tracker. Okay, there's another one. I've never used Arkham. I heard about those in a Arkham. I'm not racist. A Arkham, right? It's an arc with a ham. Portfolio Tracker. All right. I guess this is it, yeah? Or maybe not. Maybe this is not the right one. I'm not sure which one is which. There's a couple of them. Maybe this is it. But yeah, a portfolio tracker or crypto tax software can help you like trace and track your buys and sells. so that they can be properly reported, or at least for your own sanity, right? Maybe you just want to know, how much should I make on that, if anything? How much did I lose? There you go. I use Monero to hide my gains and not pay taxes. Is that bad? Oh, I don't know. That's bad, right? I mentioned in this video, we're about to wind down here. I'm a little over. But I mentioned in this video that this Why Bitcoin video, I talked about the fact that with no reserve requirements, and we're not tied to the dollar is not gold based anymore, and there's no reserve requirements. It just means the government can create money out of thin air. And so the question arises, which I mentioned in this video, is if the government can create money out of thin air, why do they need my taxes? And the answer is they don't, right? They don't need my tax money. Why is this oppressive system in place? Well, number one, keeps us under their thumb, right? Which may be a conspiracy theory, but it stands to reason as far as I can see. And but number two, the most important reason why they still want us to pay taxes is because if they admitted that they don't need our tax money, then their whole naked Ponzi scheme would be exposed to the light of day, right? Everyone would realize, hey, you're just making money out of nothing, right? Now we have this whole thing where they always talk about, well, we got tax revenue and we have outlays and we need a certain amount of tax revenue every year to cover our expenses, even though we spend more than we take in and we're in debt, we still need taxes, right? Well, they don't. They really don't need our taxes. They can just print money out of thin air. That's what they do. Anywho, I'll leave it on that, guys. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the election. Like I said, please, guys, check your local election. Ask ChatGPT, Google it, whatever you want to do. Find out which of your local candidates are crypto friendly and vote accordingly, right? Vote with your feet. Is that what they do? No, just vote at the ballot box, right? I don't know what I did with those links. But yeah, look for your local candidates. Find out who is, I think that was the cat just brushed up against me. Or maybe I'm just dreaming. Anyhow, yeah, vote blockchain, vote crypto, vote Bitcoin. If that's your issue. If you got other issues, do your research. But if you want to vote crypto, do some research, find out who the crypto-friendly candidates are, and back them, right? All right, guys, so I'm going to wind it down now. I want to thank everyone that was here tonight. Oops, wrong camera. What are we doing here? This one. Yeah, this one. Okay. So I want to thank everyone that was here tonight. Thank you, JDO. This is messing me up. Thank you, JDO, for moderating. Thank you. I didn't see Dan here tonight. I don't know where Dan is. I didn't see Dan. Dan, oh, there you are. There's Dan right there. Thanks, Dan, for being here. Always good to have both of you guys here to know that you've got my back. Thanks, Kenny, for all the news and support, emotional support, and just having someone that knows about crypto to throw ideas back and forth to. Always good to talk to you and email with you, Kenny. Dan, I'll be at the meeting this month. Awesome. And we got a personal investor meeting every month here in West Michigan. Thank you, everyone that joined early. Thank you, everyone that asked questions. I hope I got your question answered. Please shoot me an email if I didn't get to your question and you just want to know, the CryptoDad, one word, @gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll do my best to answer your question, or we could set up a consulting session if you think you need that. But shoot me an email. Let's get the conversation started. And that's it. I want to thank, we'll be here again next week, as always, hopefully. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon. Keep an eye on my channel. I'm trying to post videos quite a bit. So yeah, just keep your eyes open. And everyone have a good night and hope to see you again soon.